All right, so here's an example that I did for Pam Hendrickson. She was Tony Robbins. She was the director or VP of content management for Tony Robbins. So Pam had a big job. She had to put out all of the content that attracted the right audience for Tony Robbins, and that content generated demand. He does things a totally different way. If you've ever been to one of his, live events, the man is just amazing. And so Pam used to do that, and then she went off on her own, started her own business. This is one of the launches that she was doing that I helped her with a few years ago. And so we did this demand generation style thing where we tapped into people's, belief systems and made them believe in something new. That new thing, directly would lead them to purchase something and invest with Pam. But in the beginning, I ran ads for probably 2 or 3 weeks, just creating demand and interest based on this new thing. And so it's a technique. I think Facebook actually dubbed it prime and remind. So, prime and get people interested in a topic, and then remind them later when it's time to make a purchase. That's the concept. So Facebook Lives are definitely given the top priority right now. So you should definitely be using that. If you're, shy to do a Facebook Live, or you just need it to be more scripted, you can do videos and upload them. Fine, no problem. But video for sure. Very, very powerful. It attracts a lot of attention in the newsfeed. There's all kinds of statistics to show, and they build their algorithm to position video as much higher than other forms of content. And it really is inexpensive brand recognition and gives you the ability to nurture and move people's belief points very, very easily. So if you can combine that together with this concept of moving the belief points and educating people to what your value innovation is that will help them get their desired outcome, much, much more powerful and a much better way to do this. And there was a study done by Nielsen's actually that showed that if you put out a video and do that as kind of a branding based kind of a thing, then the ad recall, even if they only watch 10 seconds of it, ad recall goes up by 74%. And brand awareness by 65%. But here's the one that I think is most important right here. The cumulative impact on purchase intent goes up 72% when only 10 seconds of your video is watched. So what I like to do is create a few of these videos. With Pam, we probably did, 8 or 9 or 10 before the actual event. And this was one of the kind of middle level ones where it's a video. It was only, I don't have the video, but it was only maybe 3 minutes long, something like that. And this one actually did have a call to action to, sign up for her live cast. So, in the beginning, you don't really want to give a call to action because that's the whiskers and cheese. They feel like they're being sold to. In the beginning, you just give, right? Based on their belief points, move them to a new belief point. And then in the middle, you want to have a call to action to come sign up for something that's going to go into a deeper level of learning, kind of like what I'm doing here. So you've got the emotional empathy component in the first phase of advertising. In the middle phase, now we're following up to say, here, I've got some more in-depth stuff. So they've got their filters on now, right? Because you've moved them to that new belief point. And so they've got their filters on, they're scanning and watching for that. And when they all of a sudden see you and you're saying, sign up for this thing because I'm going to teach you the next level of it, they've already got their filter on, so they recognize that's something that's valuable, and they're going to probably be more likely to take action, not only by signing up for the thing, in this case it was a live cast, but also in purchasing in the end. So big factor here. Don't underestimate that. The problem with our brain is if it's a brand new audience and they've never seen you before, or a brand new concept and you're trying to move them to this new belief point, then you have to simplify your message, because incoming information is processed by our amygdala, which is the emotional core center of the brain. It sends a distress signal to the hypothalamus, which is the command center, which filters things to decide what's important, what's new and novel, what should we pay attention to. And the command center will send that message, if it feels it's important enough, it'll send that message out to the rest of the body and the neocortex, which is the higher level of processing in our brain. And it filters that incoming info very, very quickly. And it filters it based on past events that have happened to us, which are anchored in emotion, our beliefs. It's been built before. It's that old part of the brain. It's a very simple part of the brain. And maybe it's not necessarily that it's correct, it's right, but it's just how we feel. It's based on our beliefs, based on our emotions. And so most of that info gets filtered away unless your system decides that it's something that needs a deeper look. So if you keep it simple for that new audience and not too complex, they're going to be much more likely to pay attention and to set a filter in the brain for the future that's steeped in emotion. So that's why it works. If you've ever read Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff, he talks about that, messages are composed and sent by our young neocortex, are received and processed by the other person's older crocodile brain. So when we're presenting, like I'm presenting now, I'm really operating more in the neocortex. It's a deeper level of the brain. I'm giving more detail to you. And but when people are listening, that is, if you haven't already been opened to this concept, then if they're just kind of watching for new and novel information and stuff that might help them, then that filtering system is probably going to filter it away, and they're not even going to see. So the way you're going to create these videos is, these are the persuasion ones, is first of all, fill out that beliefs mapping table, and then look at how that relates to the emotion table that I showed here, the Dan Kennedy one, this one right here, right? Because you're going to need that to write headlines. You're going to need it to write ads, all that kind of stuff for the video content. And then use each one of those points in one video. Don't try to do more than one like I'm doing here in this webinar. There's a whole bunch of concepts that I'm teaching you about. You don't want to do that in these persuasion videos because this is going to go to the cold audience. Keep it simple, just like Oren Klaff said. All right, so once you've mapped it to the emotions and you've got a video outline for each one of them, what you're going to do, first of all, keep it simple, like Oren Klaff said, and then 2 to 5 minutes, and then use this framework. This is a framework that I learned from Frank Kern. It's a great framework, I feel. It's kind of like, when you're in school, in high school, and they taught you how to write an essay. It's like a new, better way of doing the essay. So with an essay, you'd start with a topic or a theme, and introduce your theme. Then you'd have like 3 points that backed up what your premise was in your theme or your introduction. And then you'd have a conclusion that summarized everything and proved what you said in your thesis. Whereas with these videos, what you're going to do is you're going to have a theme or a topic that you introduce. It's going to be based on their existing belief. And then you're going to tell a story that shows them a better way, a new way. A very value-based, innovative way, which is your unique way of giving them a solution to get them to their desired end result. And then you're going to tie that all together at the end with a metaphor, some quick punchy thing that they can go, oh, okay, now I get it, because it's a metaphor, they kind of understand the concept. If you look through this presentation, I use a lot of metaphors and I use a lot of imagery. So you want to do that. So topic, story, metaphor structure, very, very simple. And the purpose of that is to persuade them and position them in a helpful way to get them to a new belief. That's the concept, keep things simple in the beginning. But it still has to be steeped with in-depth information that backs it up. All right, so go out there and create these videos, persuade people, get your positioning for moving their belief from the current belief to the new belief, and you're going to be demand creators. You're not going to be chasing demand anymore. All right, with that, good luck to you. If you have any questions, then message me in the group.